In this message, I want to remind you that people are either in agreement with Christ or they're not. There are those that are born again but not yet in agreement with Christ. They still need to be delivered. But overall, someone either is in line with Christ or they're not. When someone is not in line with Christ, then somewhere evil spirits have an open door to use them and to trick them. Now, the length that evil spirits can go with such people depends on how depraved or how against Christ their mindset is. It depends. Someone with a very cynical mindset, demons can easily work through such an individual. Such an individual is easily tricked. Someone with a more relaxed, natural mindset that tends to think through stuff, well, such individuals are much more difficult to use. But just understand, anyone that's not in agreement with Christ can be used by evil spirits. And look at it this way. When someone is being used by an evil spirit, the individual most likely is not aware of it. Because worldly people are seldom aware when paranormal things are working through them. Some are, but they're just in denial. They don't want to take responsibility. So how do you recognize when an unclean spirit is using someone? Again, look at the context. If you are going through a difficulty now, and the people that are talking to you are only pointing at your self-effort, saying you need to do this, you need to do that, do that, do that. They only focus on you and your natural human strength instead of pointing to Christ and his supernatural provision. I'm telling you, it's unclean spirits using them. Because look at it this way. Christ said, cast all your cares on him because he cares for you. Does Christ want you to be active? Yes. But he wants you to be active in line with him so that you will operate in his power. That's what he wants. Unclean spirits want you to be active in the negative so they can feed off of you. So unclean spirits will come with so-called solutions. They will use people to bring solutions onto you, but those solutions will always keep you away from agreeing with Christ and walking by faith. Unclean spirits don't want you to have a real victory. They want you to have relief. So when you have people that are speaking to you, but you notice that the direction they're pointing towards is not towards Christ, but towards self-effort, I'm telling you, it's unclean spirits using them. Or if you have people that always come with some accusative mark about you, it's unclean spirits using them. Yes, it's them doing it. Don't get me wrong. It's the people doing it, so they're wrong for doing it. But it's unclean spirits using that bad attitude to bring you in a negative. Some of you have been used to people making accusative remarks about you. So you don't even notice anymore how wrong it is. I call it for what it is, suggestive witchcraft. When people keep suggesting bad outcomes towards you, or they give backhanded compliments in which they express their distrust towards you, even when there is no reason and no evidence to back up their distrust, I'm telling you, they are bewitching you. It's suggestive witchcraft. And people like that, unclean spirits will use them to bewitch you. Or it can be that there are people in your past that acted very weird. And indeed, they acted very weird. And there are demons that know what's going on with those people. So now you meet someone new, you just met them, and you tell them about some of the people in your past that were a bit weird. And what happens now? The unclean spirit that's been haunting you, following you, will now use that individual to minister unto you. The unclean spirit may tell the individual, may sign off the thought of the individual, those people just didn't accept themselves. Just pray for them. An individual, the human being, will tell you, you know what, such people, they just didn't accept themselves yet. Yeah, just pray for them. And when you hear this, you think, oh, that's a good idea, but hold on a minute. Those people that have not accepted themselves, they don't want to see the fact that they are in denial. They are persisting in denial. So for you to pray for them, well, I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Look, you should pray for other people, you should intercede, however. Don't cast your pearls before swine. You can intercede for someone's deliverance. You can intercede for someone that needs to be free, to be set, to be made free. But your prayers and your intercession ought to be Christ-centered. It should not be focused on making things easy for those that you're interceding for. Yes, things will eventually turn easy for them when they learn to walk by faith and overcome. But people have been taught by pagan Christianity that they need to pray to make things easy for people. They call this love. Christ did not do this. Where in the New Testament do you see Christ praying or instruct his disciples to pray to make things easy for the community they were in? He never did it. But pagan Christianity is teaching you this. So what happens now? When you opened up and told about people that were treating you badly in the past, that unclean spirit used that individual to whom the unclean spirit had access to lead you against Christ. The unclean spirit wants you to pray to make things easy on those people, because the unclean spirit knows you grew up amongst pagan Christians, so your understanding of how to relate to people is based on what pagan Christianity taught you. So the demon triggered what pagan Christianity taught you by telling you through that individual, those people haven't accepted themselves, just pray for them. What would happen now? You will begin to pray for the quality of life of those people, as pagan Christianity taught you. What will not mean by doing this, you are making things easy on them to remain in the negative. So really, you're really financing their negative. Is that God's will? Is that what Christ intended? No. But here's the thing, that individual you spoke to, an unclean spirit used that individual. The individual just thought, well, this may be what's going on, this is my opinion, but it was really an unclean spirit telepathically transferring these ideas into the brain of the individual, in the individual's own voice. An individual who didn't know what's going on thought it was her or his own thoughts, and they agreed with it and spoke it out to you. That's how the unclean spirit used an individual to trick you away from agreeing with Christ. That's why to recognize when an unclean spirit uses someone, you need to know the bigger picture, who Christ is, and what the end goal of Christ is. If you don't know that, you can't look beyond and you can't discern when it's an unclean spirit using someone. Because unclean spirits, when they use people, it's always to lead you away from Christ and his provisions. Unclean spirits will never point you towards Christ. I've explained before that when Christ walked the earth, demon spirits began to promote him through people whom they possessed. But this promotion was to give people a distorted view of who Christ really was. So it wasn't really a promotion for Christ, it was a promotion against Christ. But they enacted it in such a way that appeared as if they were for Christ, while what was really against Christ. So their promotion was to set people up against Christ. That is what those demons were doing. Now let me tell you, when unclean spirits use people to minister unto you, is to keep you away from Christ. Unclean spirits don't care that much about your relationships, about your friendships, about your job, about your finances. They don't mind you having finances, relationships, romantic partners, and all of that. Evil spirits don't care about those stuff. Evil spirits just don't want you to agree with Christ. So anything unclean spirits will do through other people to you is to keep you away from operating supernaturally. And here's the thing, the reason why unclean spirits don't mind you having all those relationships, all those friendships, and all those gadgets is because unclean spirits know that the majority of the people you are involved with don't follow Christ. So the unclean spirits know that sooner or later, those people will become a snare unto you. So why would unclean spirits frustrate you having relationships with people that are going to trap you anyway? I mean, they're unclean spirits, right? they operate against Christ. So if unclean spirits see that certain people will become a snare unto you, why would evil spirits make it hard on you in connecting with those people? While the demons know that those people are going to snare you. Well, if those people are going to snare you, eventually, then evil spirits don't have to do much. They just have to trick you or trick them into being involved with you or trick you in being involved with them. And they have to just sit back, enjoy the popcorn, and then see things unfold. So if you had relationships that you've lost, and later you figure out those people were not in the right mind, I'm telling you, it was not the devil destroying those relationships. It was Christ making you free from those people. But here's the thing, a lot of folks are not delivered and they have this relief-seeking mindset. So when they lose friendships, when they lose relationships and they lose people, they want to know why. And then you have pagan Christians that tell you, you know what, it's the devil working. You need to fight in order to have a comfortable life. But hold on a minute. The Holy Spirit is the comforter. And when you walk by faith, you operate in His power. And the Holy Spirit is Lord of your walk by faith. Yes, you are active, you use His power, and He, as Lord of your supernatural walk, has the full right. He doesn't have to explain anything to you, has the full right to cut things off and to rearrange things. He has the right to redirect your actions and the outcomes of your actions. Yes, He can. He's God. So when you operate in faith and you lose relationships, while you operate in the blessing, in the life and abundance itself, then I'm telling you, stop thinking it's the devil. Look, I already explained, God will remove certain people from you, but Satan will also remove people from you. When God removes people from you, it's because the Lord wants you to be free from their toxic, negative influence. God does not want you to be snared by them. When Satan removes people from you, he wants to distract you, to make you think you did something wrong or there's something wrong with you. And then he has his ministers who will tell you, you know what? The devil's after you, which is true. He is after you. But they will tell you, you need to fight by your own efforts, using the name of Christ to have loving relationships with other people. So they give you a fact, but at the same time they turn you away from the truth. That's how pagan Christianity operates. I mean, when you go online in testimonies, how people say they've been delivered from demonic strongholds, there are testimonies online. There are hundreds, there's hundreds of thousands of them, both in video format, or in text format. You can't go through all of them because there's so many, but overall, when you go through many of them, you will see that the people are tricked into saving their own life. And the reason they're tricked into saving their own life, and therefore preserving the dysfunctions Christ wants them delivered from, is because they don't look at the bigger picture. They can't see nor detect when unclean spirits are using people to trap them. Why can't they see it? Because they don't look at the bigger picture. They don't look beyond. They're not Christ-centered. Look, if you had a job and you are walking in the blessing, you operate in biblical health and biblical wealth, and suddenly you lose that job and you think, how did I lose this job? Things were going fine over here. Let me tell you, stop thinking it's Satan doing it. Yes, Satan is active against you, but it's not active against you the way you expect. Yes, there are evil spirits that will come and cause contention around you with the aim to distract you. That's true. But overall, the paranormal is there to keep you away from Christ. So if you had a job that paid so well and things were so easy for you, but this job caused you to be distracted, this job caused you to lose sight of your environment, to lose sight of those that need your care, I'm telling you, Satan would be very happy for you to keep that job and to be at good terms with people at the job, because then Satan has you trapped. Why would Satan resist his own trap? He won't do it. He won't do it. Now, there are times things are going well with you and suddenly there's disruption, and this is the enemy working. But then the enemy is working to bring you in the negative. But if you are already in the negative but you're not aware of it, why would the enemy make things more difficult on you and wake you up? If you're in the negative already without you being aware of it, and Satan makes things harder on you, he will only wake you up from the trance. And why would he want you to wake up from the trance while you are so useful for him while you're in the trance? You were useful for him without you being aware of it. That's how he wants it. That makes it easy onto him. Look, it's very important to recognize paranormal activity through other people. Now, those people often are not aware that the paranormal is using them. Just realize when it happens and take proper actions when it happens. So you remain on good terms. As far as it depends upon you, you remain on good terms with those people, but you keep them at a safe distance. And you don't entrust your affairs onto them. As a believer, you ought to be real. I'm not saying that you have to lay on your bed day and night and expect provisions to manifest. I'm not saying that, because that's not how it works. Your walk by faith is a walk by faith. It's not a strive by faith. It's a walk by faith. And during this walk, there will be attacks and setbacks. So there will be battles on your way. But because you walk by faith in the power that comes from the Holy Spirit, you will overcome and trample upon scorpions and serpents. Walk by faith is an active walk. It's not passive. It's never passive. But the enemy has a counterfeit, which is passive aggression, in which your mind is passive, but physically you are aggressive. It's passive aggressive, but because you're physically aggressive, you think you're diligent, that you're working hard, you're getting somewhere, but really you're in a loop. So if you're passive aggressive and you're not aware of it, and you're blinded by the short-term benefits you get from this passive aggression, why would the enemy go against that? The enemy would use people to promote what you're doing so that you will remain trapped. Look, I can't describe every circumstance for you. And I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know what's going on with you unless the Holy Spirit reveals it onto me. Okay? Listen, learn to recognize paranormal activity, and the best way to recognize is when you're Christ-centered. That's why it's very important to be renewed in your mind. That being said, keep Christ at the center of all your affections and all your empathy and all your passions. Keep him at the center. Be at peace.